life upon the road. I'm still looking for some gold at the end of my rainbow. Yes, and someday I will find her on a Parkway blue blinder. On a Parkway blue blinder. Someday I will find her. Yes, and someday I will find her on a Parkway blue blinder. On a Parkway blue blinder. On a Parkway. On a Parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves fall like confetti in a New York parade. On the Parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves fall like confetti in a New York parade.
And welcome everybody to the Scenic City Sports Podcast on this Thursday afternoon, July the 24th of 2025. Rusty, Scott, and Rob joining you. Special guest with us today, Coach Aaron Nance from East Hamilton. But before we get to talking about football and stuff, we would be remiss in not talking about what is, for fans of our show and watchers of our show, and for us, a ginormous happened and was just announced about an hour ago, and that is that Chuck Mangione passed. I'm sorry, I did hear that one too, but no. In all seriousness, for all you guys out there that are fans of pro wrestling as we are and always have been, found out today that at the age of 71, the icon, the immortal, Hulk Hogan. And you can see we put a couple little decorations out there on the desk in his honor, but Hulk Hogan has passed away. And regardless of what you have to say about his later opinions and the things that came out on him, both in his personal life and backstage, you cannot argue that he may be the most influential professional wrestler that ever graced the squared circle. Yeah. You know, as I heard Tony Atlas one time say that Vince McMahon didn't see black, Vince McMahon didn't see white, Vince McMahon only saw green, and Hulk Hogan over his career generated a whole lot of green.
He's absolutely, in my opinion, the most influential wrestler of all time. In my opinion, he's also the second most influential person in the history of the business, only behind Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr., because he's the one that, you know, brought Hogan back to the WWF, because, you know, he'd been there once before. Freddie Blassie was his manager.
As Sterling Gold.
He comes back. He was the fabulous Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went away to AWA. He comes back to WWF. They strap the rocket to him, and off he goes.
Well, I don't think when you talk about moving the meter that you can think of anybody else that did as much as he did in a period of time here. I mean, a lot of folks think of Ric Flair, but Ric Flair's organization that he built his name with was not quite the size of what Hulk Hogan was doing.
No.
Worldwide at that time. So a huge loss. We've known, you know, a lot of those older wrestlers are dealing with complications of just life and health in general. Big loss there. But again, if you started a Rushmore and you didn't have his face on there, I don't know what you're thinking about
you're
wrestling.
Really not a wrestling fan.
Because he means that.
It's permanent.
Well, you think about it in the 80s when the WWF became the dominant force. you have to give Vince McMahon credit. Vince McMahon was the first one that realized getting your product out to a national audience and not being just regional was huge. And the other thing was finding that one guy that everybody out there could get behind. And if you're old enough like we are to remember when Hulk Hogan first came out, Hulk Hogan used to come out in white trunks, draped in red, white, and blue. He was the real American. American made is what his T-shirt said back in those days. And then as time went on and they started calling it, started talking about Hulkamania and the Hulkster and all that, he brought out the iconic red and yellow. And it doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. It doesn't matter. I mean, Hulk Hogan is one of those people that whether you're a wrestling fan or not, everybody in the world knew who Hulk Hogan was because he made appearances on everything. He's on late night TV. He's on Family Feud. He was on episodes of sitcoms that we all watched. He did movies. He
was the first wrestler to go mainstream.
Yeah.
Absolutely did. And
Terrible movies, but
it was really before
mainstream.
he became that well known as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Rocky 3.
Oh, yeah, Thunderlips.
He got that role, parlayed it into the second phase of his wrestling career.
Yep.
And it took off after that. And the reason, and I was going to bring this up because I was thinking about it today. He's what Tiger Woods is to golf.
I was just thinking that.
If you think about it.
He is absolutely.
Yes. Because, I mean, look, there were golfers before Tiger.
Yes.
They made a good living.
Yes.
Then Tiger came along.
Now everybody makes a good
living.
living.
Now everybody makes a ton more money. And he's also the kind of the same way in Tiger in that everybody loved Tiger to start with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's opinion started kind of turning. Not to everybody, but some people had like more of a negative opinion of Tiger when they found out about stuff that was going on off the course. Hogan had a heel turn too, a famous heel turn. Matter of fact, you can argue Hogan might have been the biggest babyface of all time and the biggest heel of all time during his career. And then it kind of switched back again.
Yeah.
Everybody all of a sudden kind of likes Tiger again because, hey, old
because
guy
we've watched him get
everything.
old. We've watched him grow
and
up with
Hogan
us.
kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
He kind of went full circle. But look, these wrestlers will not be making the money that they're making without Hulk Hogan.
No.
He wouldn't. I mean, Saturday mornings, you could watch Hogan wrestle. You could watch Hogan as a cartoon while you ate his cereal.
Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling.
And then watch Saturday night's main event.
Only professional
You're
wrestling.
throwing way too much at Coach here. He's not
Only-
nearly old enough to
only
remember
pro.
all that
But,
stuff.
not being a wrestling person,
What?
Hogan is the face of wrestling.
Well, he is the
You know what I'm
face.
saying?
He
Like,
is.
Even if you don't know
You
anybody.
don't know
Yeah.
if someone says Hulk Hogan, you're like, oh yeah, wrestling.
Only
People know
professional wrestler to ever grace the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That. Is that right?
I mean,
Go back and listen
know.
to this because it's something I remembered. Hogan's got about 10 years on me, 9 years in age. One of his first interviews was on the Johnny Carson show. Big guy. 290, 300 pound. He didn't talk well. He learned how to talk. And that's such a big part of the wrestling gig.
Yep.
And if you go back to that now, at that time I'm 18, he's right at 28. He caught on how to talk,
Oh,
but
yeah,
he
he
was
did.
a terrible interview on that show because he seemed like he was extremely nervous with the mic in front
buddy,
of him.
he was great later.
But he got great later at it, and I'm sorry to hear you're not a wrestling fan, Coach.
I went
But if
through
you'll
a
come
phase
on
as
here
a
more
young
often, you
child.
will be.
Well, I'm gonna one last thing I'll bring up before we get into football, and that's simply this. What Scott was talking about, he mentioned the Rocky movie a minute ago, Rocky 3. And Hulk Hogan appears in Rocky 3 as Thunderlips, the ultimate male. They have
That's
the
right.
wrestler versus the boxer, is the big main event in that night. And I was thinking about this, both my kids are both big wrestling fans. I received, when I sent the message to them today, I've got a message, just me and them, and I sent a message to them, what had happened, and both of them, what? Because they grew up on wrestling. And what got me thinking about it was a few years ago, right after my transplant, we had gone on our first family vacation. We wound up in Tampa, and while we were in Tampa, we went over to Hogan's Beach Shop, which is Hogan's little memorabilia shop. Now, a lot of great stuff in there, buy t-shirts and magnets and stickers and all that kind of stuff. But what sets that place apart is if you look around the top edge of that building,
The belts.
there are all the belts that he's ever held. His, in some of the shops, are the actual ones he had. They're framed and everything. But in that room, and this is what I was going to bring up, there is only one of these. And in that room, signed by him with the plaque in the bottom and everything, is the framed red cape from Rocky 3 with the big giant set of pink lips on it that says Thunder Lips, the ultimate male, and there's literally one of those. The man just passed away today. That one piece of memorabilia right there, that's like Ken Golden stuff on
That's
Netflix.
7 figures.
Yeah, that piece right there immediately.
That's auction material.
That'll pay off anything that the Hogan the Hogan legacy needed to pay off. That one piece of memorabilia.
How much we
take
got
care
in the
of.
bank?
Seriously, I bet you that piece is at least 7, 8 figures by the time
More
it's
than
over
money
with, so.
together.
We can bid on it. We ain't going to get it, but we can bid on it.
Well, Coach, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. We get to this time of year each year, and we try to have as many coaches on as we can to kind of get some previews as to what the upcoming season is going to look out. And I'm going to turn it over to Scott and Rob and let them handle all the questions for you.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do, we did a little bio on it before you got here. I'm going to let you tell the rest of the world out there that may not know about Coach Aaron Nance. Take us through your coaching resume from start to now.
Finish. Well, I started coaching football at East Ridge High School, first year ever coaching.
Under
Coach
Tim James?
Martin.
Oh, Martin. Mike
Yeah, it was
Martin.
before-
Just brought
it was
his
Mike
name
Martin. It was, I believe, his last or second to last year there. I coached there as a volunteer right out of high school, was going to college here in Chattanooga, helped out, had fun, loved it. I'm like, you guys get paid to do this? And they're like, yeah, not much, but a little bit enough. And so I was like, well, I can do
Some
that.
of us do.
So, and then the next year, after that 1 year at East Ridge, I was coaching defensive backs there. Coach Charles Fant got hired at the head coach at Notre Dame High School, and I went over there with Courtney Braswell.
What got you over there?
Courtney Braswell got me to East Ridge.
We've another Courtney Braswell recognition on this show. Hadn't done that in a week or two, so
Oh, is that right? Yeah, so Courtney coached me in high school,
okay.
senior year, and then he went down there to be defensive coordinator. And what's crazy is first started coaching, I was still in high school. I'm sure it was against the rules, but it was spring practice.
And you played for who at Saudi?
Coach Gary Orr.
Gary Orr.
Kevin Orr.
Kevin Orr, which
Kevin
his son
Rodriguez.
was a quarterback. Kevin Orr's son
Gary was also coaching there. Gary's his son was our defensive coordinator.
Okay.
And then Kevin Orr, or Kevin Rodriguez, now it was the head coach
Okay.
there my last 2 years there. But I would get out of school at Saudi Daisy High School at like 11:30, and then drive down to East Ridge and coach spring practice. And didn't tell the kids how young I was. I was coaching, but he called me up. I was like, I need you to come help coach the defensive backs. You know the coverages, you know the defense. Come down here. I was like, are you sure? I'm still in high school. He said, dude, it'll be fine. Come on. So I fell in love with it there. We probably broke some rules. I'm not sure, but
well, you just told him.
yeah, I did. But from there, went to Notre Dame High School. Spent 4 years there coaching with Coach
Some
Fant.
good ball players over there.
Very good football players.
And
One that's still in the league.
One that's still in the
Patrick
league.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Funny story about Patrick Johnson. So I was playing golf at Creekspan Golf Course, and I'm at the driving range. And Patrick, I look down the driving range. There's this massive kid in a red polo shirt, just smashing golf balls. And I walk down there and I look, it's a St. Jude polo. And I was like, dude, do you go to St. Jude? He's like, yeah. I said, you coming to Notre Dame High School? He said, I'll be a freshman there next year. I said, do you play football? He was like, no. And his granddad was standing there. He was like, I've been trying to get him to play some football. I was like, dude, you need to come play football. You'd be like the biggest kid on our team right now as an 8th grader. And he was like, you sure? So he came and played some football. So his first time playing football, to my knowledge, was his freshman year at Notre Dame. And turned into a phenomenal football player.
Yeah.
Had a good career at Tulane and still playing in the league now.
Kareem Moore on that team as well.
Yeah, Kareem Moore was on that football team. Well, we had plenty of football players. Alex Darris was our
Y'all had
quarterback.
and you had a linebacker.
Tyler Enos. That's
Tyler
who you're
Enos.
thinking of. Yep.
And he is the type of kid, I keep bringing that up, that when you've got a really good football team, you've got a Tyler Enos on your team.
Yeah, just a gritty.
You've got a
tough-
middle linebacker, possibly a fullback, and when he comes off the field, you miss him.
Yep.
And there's been other teams, we mentioned different names of kids, but that kid always reminded me of somebody that they can't afford to lose that kid.
Yeah, just like a heart and soul of your
Yeah.
defense.
Who was that played at Notre Dame? This is way before Tyler Enos. There was another linebacker that played there. I cannot
Before
think of
Enos?
I cannot think of his name. This is going back probably.
Is that the Coach Wiggins time?
Yeah, this is probably 20
No,
years or so
it
ago.
wasn't-
Darius Bowman and them.
Yeah,
that
it wasn't
team.
Spurlock, wasn't his like? It was he had a. God, I can see it plain as day, but give me a minute.
You
I'll
remember
think
who I'm
of it.
talking about?
I know exactly.
Well,
Who
you're not
you're
Yeah.
talking. You're not talking about the defensive lineman that.
He might have been a linebacker. I could have sworn
Well,
he
he's on-
played.
he's on
I could have sworn he
McCauley's
played
staff.
linebacker.
Played for UTC.
Really?
He might have.
Yeah, I think that's who you're thinking. That was Charlie's real legitimate football player. But I don't think he played linebacker unless Charlie asked him to. He might have had to ask him to
He's
do
an outside the
everything.
box
Maybe our
thinker.
crack research staff.
Yeah,
can-
he's on
can pull
McCauley's
that
staff, and I'm ashamed to say I can't get a name in my head, but he's
out.
a
I don't know when I
defensive
hear the
line
name,
coach.
but
Okay, so Notre Dame learned a lot there.
Yes, phenomenal. That's where I switched to offense over there. Coach Fant hired me to come coach the receivers.
Okay.
Was a receiver coach there for 2 years, and then my third year there, I helped. I became like a passing game coordinator, where Jason Campbell was calling the offense, and I had a bigger role in the passing game there. My last year there, I was actually the offensive coordinator at like age 20, and I was like, Coach Fant, let me do it. And I was every day it was like, are you sure about this? Like,
You were the chosen one.
No,
you were
I'm just-
you were a young Skywalker.
I'm just really thankful
Scott
for
would-
Coach Fant.
he
Helped
would
me
like
a
that.
lot,
Yeah.
and,
But-
helped me along the way. So
Have you ever met too many people any more organized than Charles Fant? That's one of
He's
his
on top of it.
quality traits,
Yeah.
isn't it?
yes,
He's an organized person.
yes, and that's good. Like, kind of cut my teeth with under that guy. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You see
absolutely.
how he operates.
Absolutely. And he
And
was
how
under
things
Robert
run.
Akins,
He
you
was.
know, and Robert's got a good pool of coaches that have left him with.
Ian Meredith.
Well, now I wasn't thinking of Ian, but that you're
that's
right about.
exactly what I
You're
was
right
thinking
about
but that
that.
ain't that ain't
Yeah,
the one I'm
You're
that,
right.
that
That
was
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
that was that one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
He was a heck of a player too. So you're in Tennessee for a while, then you go to Georgia.
Yes. So
And you go to some big boys.
yeah, I spent some time down
Yeah.
there in Atlanta.
Couple of pretty good programs down there.
You know, I graduated from UTC with a teaching degree, and teachers and coaches make their money teaching. So
Right.
I'm looking for a job at this time. Notre Dame, a small school, there's not a PE opening, what I'm certified in. I got linked up with the guys, a guy named Scott Jones, who's the head coach, or was the head coach at North Paulding High School. I went down there, interviewed for the offensive coordinator job, got that out of college. He brought me down there.
And they hadn't had a program
It was a
all
fairly
that
new
long.
school.
Because
It
I
was-
remember when they first opened, they played Gordon Lee the first couple of times. I think that
Yeah.
was probably 20 years ago now. But
By the time I had got there, they were in the highest classification.
Yeah.
We were in 7A football, but it was pretty new to 7A
Well,
football.
that entire area, that used to be 4A up here when they played up here, but it was growing residentially like crazy down
Oh,
there.
new neighborhoods everywhere.
Yeah.
Popping up.
was
I mean,
Chris Conley on that team?
He was a few years before me when
Okay.
I got down there. Yeah, he is an alumni of North Paulding High School.
How'd you get over to Grayson?
So from Scott Jones, who hired me at North Paulding, phenomenal guy. Like, he is if y'all don't know anything about Scott Jones, he is the godfather of fundraising. I mean, this guy could fundraise like nobody's ever seen.
Sells lots
before.
of sell fruit, huh?
So I got to learn from that guy. I'm like, he could sell ice to an Eskimo, I could say whatever.
Yeah.
But, he retired and left, retired from teaching and coaching, moved to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and then after that, I stayed on one more year there. A guy named Adam Carter got the head coaching job at Grayson High School, and hired me on over there to come be the offensive coordinator at Grayson. Spent 2 seasons there.
It's pretty good talent.
Yeah, some phenomenal football players.
Any names out of that group that's gone on to be?
So Phil Maffa just was our running back. He was the starting running back in Clemson the last couple years. He just got drafted by the Cowboys, so he's playing. He was our running back the 2 years that I was there. A great 230-pound running back that could run in low 4.4.
Yeah.
Because I said something to you a few years ago when you migrated back up here, and I understand your reasons, but I I thought, there's just going to be a slight difference in what you were watching and what you will be watching.
Right.
And you know the difference.
Yeah, I mean,
but
there's
you learned a
different
lot down there.
Yeah, learned a lot. Football at a high level. Playing football games like I think back to like big time games like the quarterfinals at Lowndes County in 2019.
Mm.
A game playing at Colquitt County High School in South Georgia. Like that Lowndes County game in the quarterfinals, we went down there. If y'all ever seen Concrete Palace going down I-75 on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they fill up both sides with their home
You
fans.
can't miss it.
Yeah, the Vikings.
Yes. And that's where Adam Carter is now, the guy that hired me at Grayson.
And
I
when you
thought
played
that's where he
Colquitt
was still there,
Rush Probst had been out.
he done
Yeah.
gone. Okay.
But actually, my first year at North Paulding, we played them in the first round of playoffs. So we went down there and coached against Rush Probst when he was at Colquitt, had them rolling. So coached, some big football games. We were fortunate.
Did you ever get to know him? By any no knowledge of him?
No,
Okay.
not much.
Okay, so
He sent us a quarterback in 2020.
Did
Y'all
he?
remember the Jake Garcia thing
Oh, yeah.
that hit? So Jake Garcia, that whole Titletown show on Netflix,
Yeah.
that was my quarterback at Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had so it was COVID year, so
Right.
they canceled the football season in California.
So he was the kid that was going to come to Valdosta.
He went to Valdosta,
He went to Valdosta,
Right.
but he didn't
Yes.
stay.
but he got ruled ineligible.
And then
And
he
then we hit our bye week after 5 games. We played week 1 through 5.
Mhm.
Week 6 is a bye week, and then we're starting region play. Well, during the bye week, he had been ruled in, he had played 2 games at Valdosta, been ruled ineligible, and then they were appealing it to get him back, and he couldn't get it. And so, like Rush Probst calls one day, and the coach is like, "Hey, sit down." Rush Probst is calling. Like, he's like, "Look, our quarterback, he's not eligible here. He will be the next place he goes. He's interested in coming up there." So,
okay.
That was a
he shows up in the bye week and has 4 or 5 practices with us, and we play Parkview on ESPN the next week.
that was a unique situation. I remember
Yeah.
following that, because I worked for the
How
paper.
did
and
you
I
all
couldn't believe
break it to the quarterback that was playing quarterback?
It was a phenomenal kid. Like, still talk to him often today, but it was one of those deals where this guy's here, and the 2 of them split reps the rest of the year through there. And I, the post-game report, I'd be like, all right, this QB 29 plays, this QB.
This
had
may be way too
32.
technical
Like,
for you to answer, and I remember that situation, and I think I asked the question and we bannered it around. How is he ineligible in Valdosta and not in Grayson?
from my understanding, and I don't want to be necessarily quoted on this, but because there was some technical things on there, but in the state of Georgia, it has to be, it's considered a bona fide move is if your whole family moves. So I know, and I think this is in an ESPN article where I think their family, so mom was still working in California and dad was a retired LAPD officer. Well, like dad and son moved, but mom didn't.
That creates
that. No, it's not a bona fide move. Or
okay,
something like
and it wasn't long after that Coach Prost exited out of there, so I don't know if that was some of that.
And Georgia's just right now is in the process of tightening up some of them loopholes and stuff like that. Now they're basically, if you transfer twice, you're ineligible for a year.
I heard that.
And now you've got to show proof that not only have you moved, but your entire family has moved. Everybody in your family, nobody's living there. The power's off.
Yeah.
Everything. So they're trying to
One of those Grayson team state champs.
2020 is.
Okay, so you got one of those rings. So then that brings you. I think you told me once family wanted to come back north.
Yeah, so I left Grayson. My wife and I met while I was at Grayson, got married, had a kid. My family's here in Chattanooga. Her
Right.
family's in Atlanta. We were like, having a kid, we thought, let's live between the two.
Split the difference.
Split the difference.
Yeah.
Well, when you have an infant and I'm coaching all the time, it's hard on her
Yeah.
because coaches put in, so many hours during the football season. It's ridiculous.
You do.
But,
You do.
it actually was like we're now too far away from any help with an infant child. So tried to get back to her family, moved back to, I was at Flowery Branch for a year. And then we loved it there. We were 10 minutes from my in-laws. And then we kind of made that decision. It's like we either got to be in Atlanta by the in-laws or we got to be in Chattanooga by my family. And then the head coaching job came open at East Hamilton. And it's one of those deals where I'd always said, like, East Hamilton is a great school in the Chattanooga area. And when it comes to Hamilton County schools in the area there. And the principal at East Hamilton was also my middle school principal at Loftus Middle School.
Okay.
So I was like, I know that. And I was told a long time ago by older coaches that are much smarter than me. They said, you don't chase players. Don't go places because you have good players. Go chase good admin. Good
Makes sense.
Good people to work for.
Well, and you can talk to coaches that have been around and been different places, and they will tell you that exact thing. You know, that was a good program because the top allowed it to be a good program.
Admin that support you, that have your back, that help coaches any way they possibly can. And he is that. I could not ask for any better principal than I work for right now with Brent Eller.
Brent Eller.
At
Yeah.
East Hamilton High School. So got my wife to move back up here. Here we come to East Hamilton, and now we're settled in, loving it here. She was reluctant to leave Atlanta, and I told her, I promise you're going to like it. There's not near as much traffic. Little did I know I'd been gone for like 8 years, and I-24 turned into what it is. But,
And you moved to Ottawa, I understand, and I said congratulations on that traffic pattern out there twice a day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done a good job. I've watched him on the sidelines. He knows how to coach, and I appreciate that about him. Let's name your staff. You got some good guys with you.
got a really good coaching staff. So
Let's name them.
well, we got starting with Gerald Jones, our defensive coordinator. He's been at East Hamilton since the school opened.
How's he feeling?
He's doing great.
You know,
He's
he had
coaching well.
a deal a while back.
He did, but all his doctors and visits. Sorry, Gerald, for airing this, but they're all coming back good.
Good, good.
They're really good.
Good,
So
good.
he's our defensive coordinator.
Yep.
We always joke he put the last brick in the building. So he's been at East Hamilton ever since.
Yeah, he
then.
has. He has.
Um,
He has.
He put a lot of time.
Good guy
in there.
too. Really good.
Good guy. It was really important for me to make sure I retained him when I first got there.
Yeah, he's a
because
good guy.
He's a guy that just knows all the alumni, like has been there, knows the school, understands the changes that have happened over the years in the school. Our offensive line coach and offensive coordinator is Adrian Rebstock. He is a Dyer County native. That's where he went to high school in West Tennessee. But he was with me for a year at Flowery Branch High School before I came back to Chattanooga. And he came up here to coach offensive line, be my offensive coordinator at East Hamilton with me. We got Coach Carter Cardwell. Y'all probably know him.
Sure. Sure.
He's on staff with us. Solid guy, good football coach. Been doing it a long time.
Boy Buchanan, Saudi
Yep.
Daisy,
UTC.
UTC.
He's coached at a high level for a long time. He's forgot more football than I'll ever know.
Good guy. Really good
Great
guy.
having him around. The great thing about him is, like, and I talk to kids all the time, like, this is a guy that could have the biggest ego in the world, Carter Cardwell.
Mhm.
And
But he's pretty down to earth.
he is. I never asked him to. Every day after practice, he sweeps the locker room. He opens every kid's locker, takes Lysol spray and disinfectant spray, sprays each kid. There's like 80 football helmets. He does it every single day.
Okay.
Good.
I never asked him.
Well, that's
He
one
just-
thing you're not delegating. He's
I mean,
taking it over.
Let's see, if you're out there and you've never been in the football locker room,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
bad,
Can't let that go.
it's not a
You
bad.
cannot let that go.
It's not a
but
bad. That's not
I
a bad thing
understand.
to do.
I
That's a
That's just-
stench that few people understand.
It's just cool to see that, though. It's like, this is a guy that's coached in college, been a head coach, could have an ego, but he doesn't. Like, he just coaches, does the little things.
Good guy.
He
Really
coaches
good
our
guy.
receivers and our defensive backs, our safeties. Coaches both sides of the ball for us there. I got Virgil Henderson on staff. He coaches our outside linebackers and tight ends. He's actually a pastor as well at Olivet Baptist Church, or Olivet Nation. I think they just changed their name to Olivet Baptist. And then also just hired Mark Matlock. He spent the last couple years coaching offensive line at Tyner High School, and he's coming over here with us this year to be coaching defensive line.
Sure, I've seen him. Sure, I've seen him.
He actually helped at East Hamilton years ago and helped Coach Gatewood out
Okay.
on that staff, so he's familiar with East Hamilton. Latin, I just hired a coach who started right after the dead period with us from Connecticut. His name's Kevin Panganiban. He'd come down here from Connecticut and drove down for 2 days.
Well, he must be serious.
That's a drive. I've made that
He
drive.
must be serious,
Yeah,
Coach.
yeah.
If he got in the car and went that long.
Yeah, he drove down for 2 days, hopped out the car, showed up Monday on July 7th, and stepped into an oven. It was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
How hot it is.
I will vouch. I've been to Connecticut, and 82 degrees, no humidity. Down here, 82 degrees, you can't stay outside for more than 10 seconds without sweating. So.
And you hadn't mentioned my boy, his brother's at East Ridge. He was former Central coach. He helped you on defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so David Barger is at Cleveland now.
Oh, Barger went back up to
Yeah,
Cleveland. I didn't know
so
that.
Chris Brown hired him this
Okay.
offseason.
Didn't know that.
He's up
That's why he
there.
hadn't mentioned it.
Yeah, well, okay. I didn't know
It's
that.
up there.
Well, he left Cleveland to come
Yeah.
to you. So
He did.
Yeah.
He did. We got him down here at Cleveland. His son came down and played for us his senior year from Cleveland. Wanted to be with his dad his senior year on the
Well,
sideline.
his wife
His
taught
wife.
school. I don't know if she was still up.
Yeah, she still's working at Cleveland.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
so it makes sense for them as a family. Like their son's going to college. Him and his wife want to be on the same work
Okay.
schedule.
Yeah, I didn't know all
Have
that.
Spring breaks and fall breaks on the same week.
Okay,
That
okay.
kind of deal.
Well, you lost a guy that
He's a good
enjoys
football coach. Yeah, he did a lot for us and helped us a lot. He did so much for me those 2 years, so I can. And it was a good move for his family. He's the offensive coordinator at Cleveland now this year.
Oh,
So he's
okay.
flipping back over to the
Okay.
offensive side.
Let's talk
Okay.
about your team specifically.
Yep.
Who we got coming back first?
I mean, the name that everyone talks about, and rightfully so, is Jaden Haywood's coming back. 5A All-State running back. Also plays corner. He just committed a few weeks ago to ETSU, East Tennessee State, to play defensive back.
Okay.
I think there's still a shot that he may end up playing some offense there. We'll see. So the offensive and defensive coaches signed off on his commitment. So they're both
He can be
just
either or, huh?
a rare deal.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often. He's a good, talented football player. Our quarterback from last year is coming back, Wyatt Miller, who is a good athlete. We had a good offensive line last year. We didn't have to throw the ball as
Right.
much, but he's really improved this offseason. His throwing mechanics. He got a year under his belt just being in the pocket, and he's got a lot of confidence coming back into this year.
And that's going to keep defensive honest too. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, you can't just focus on the running back now because you got to respect the quarterback.
And he understands, like, we graduated a bunch of offensive and defensive linemen last year. Like, we're going to have to throw the ball around a little bit this year.
Keep people honest.
Yeah, just keep people honest, get the ball. Because we got some good athletes out there. I mean, we got another kid who is little and undersized, but he is absolutely dynamic in the open field, and that's Jermaine Heathington. And he played running back last year. We've moved him out to slot receiver. Jermaine Heathington, number 1 this year. He's a dynamic football player playing in the slot, playing corner for us. Our offensive line wise, we got 2 coming back, Kanan Mills and Kylan Fowler. They both played guard last year for us. Kanan sliding into center this year. We'll be playing center, but good, tough, undersized linemen, but they're tough kids and they play well, play with good pad level.
How many times do we see kids that are undersized that if you had to grade them on your blocking, they usually grade out the highest?
Yeah,
And sometimes that big kid over there that everybody's coming in, tell me about that kid. Well, he don't block very well, but he's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the offensive line to be good up there, you have to have good feet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just be sloppy and lumbering all the time. You have to be able to get off the ball and move your feet well. I'll take an undersized lineman that has good feet and plays with a nasty streak in him over a big guy that's kind of slow and cumbersome.
People
and
running
not
by
very
him.
tough. Yeah, you can work with that.
You shared with me the other night on the phone, I asked you about your numbers, and you said 80 plus. Good numbers. Good numbers.
Yeah, well, our numbers are up right now. We've got 80. I counted it this morning. We got 80 on the roster. We've had 2 back-to-back years of big 9th grade classes. My first year at East Hamilton, I had 12 9th graders. I got hired late, and it was like May 1st was my first official day at East Hamilton. And I don't know, I just kind of thought, oh, that's what our numbers are going to be. And then the second year, we had like 27 or 28 freshmen come out, and I thought that was just a big number. So this year, I kind of planned for in between 12 and 28 right in there, and we had 29 show up, 9th graders.
Well, that tells me the future
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
can be bright.
Yeah, it can. I mean, you're looking at 60 kids on your roster in the 9th and 10th grade.
Well,
We've
and
got some youth.
it also says you're young, but at the same time, you're very proud to have that number stacking up down there.
Absolutely. Coaches talk about how it's like a pyramid. You want as big of a base as you can. That's how tall the peak can be.
Right.
So you get that middle school program as big as it can be, and you're going to lose some kids on the way that go to other sports or decide football's not for them. But the bigger that base is, the more you'll have their senior year in that senior class. So
Makes sense.
You want to build. And there's some excitement right now in the program. The area is growing. There's so many, like you talked about, so many houses and stuff being built up there.
And y'all just got turf?
We did just get a turf field built.
Okay,
We
well,
did.
congratulations.
It is
No more
awesome.
mowing yards and lining fields, and I don't know if you had to do that at all.
Yeah, we did. I had a great group of parents that painted the field. So we didn't have to paint the field. I had a great booster club and parents that did that and took that over. I did mow, and then I actually got some other dads on to help me mow. So what people don't understand about a football field is how often it has to be mowed.
Yeah.
It's like 3 times per week.
I was gonna say it's every 3 days, 2 days.
Yeah, it's like
depending
every
on
2 or
how-
3 days
Yeah.
if you want to keep it at that turf height.
Then you got to overseat it every now and
And my
again.
wife
and
didn't
you gotta-
understand. You know what I mean? Like she's like,
Well,
I'm
and I-
sure you're up there mowing the field.
Well, and I
What
always
do you
said-
really like, you know what I'm saying? Like I promise it has to be mowed like every 2
Well,
days.
and I always said that about that field, and it's relatively new compared to a lot of other fields, but starting at about week 7, that field got thin in the middle, and it had been that way the entire time. Then they had the water leak over there onto the side that
Right.
stayed there forever. So I'm proud of the fact, even though it's a young field, y'all still needed the turf.
Right. And there's the turf. People don't understand like how much money that saves our program.
It's
Like
big
I told
investment
you,
up front
It's
with it.
$20,000 a year for a football program to keep up a football.
Yeah.
field.
Well, and
Paint and gas.
and reminds removes the labor.
Yeah.
It's free labor in some cases that you got out there, but you got people out there doing it.
Talk about the region for a second, because this
Yeah.
region has become really tough top to bottom.
It got a lot harder this year.
Yeah, it got even tougher.
We added
Tell me
2
about the
playoff
team.
teams.
Tell me about the teams you got in there now.
So the teams that are in there now, it's East Hamilton, Ooltewah, Saudi. Those are your Hamilton County schools. And you go
Right.
up 27, you got Ray County, you got Walker Valley, McMinn County up there, and then we threw Lenoir City down there with us.
Yeah.
And we actually moved from Region 4 to Region 3. So the eastern half of the state in 5A had more schools than the west. So they tried to force all of East Tennessee up 75 into 3 regions to split that up. And that's how Lenoir City got pushed down. There used to be 2 regions in the Knoxville area. But they split that to 1 and sent. They were able to do that because Oak Ridge moved up to 6A.
And not a easy win in the bunch.
No, it's a gauntlet. It
Absolutely
really is.
not.
I mean, we lost Howard. They're going. Was it
Non-region.
Non-region.
Yeah.
So, but then we replaced that with 2 playoff teams. We played Lenoir City in the second round of the playoffs last year. They're a good football team. They got a new coach, but it's Lenoir City has some history to that program.
It does.
There's a lot of.
It does.
It's a football community. They care a lot about it. And then Saudi Daisy, coming off a 9-win season last year, is moving up to 5A with us this year too. So you've got 2 playoff teams added in there. There's gonna be some good football teams that don't make the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look at it. So.
Especially with Ray and the tradition they got in Walker Valley, what Drew's been able to do with that program the
Yes.
last few years, and
McMinn County's always solid.
McMinn County's been really good for a number of years.
So
So
Kegel does a really, really good job up there.
Yeah.
Those kids play hard. They got a big old lineman that you guys know about.
oh yeah,
Well, they've always had some good sized linemen
Yes, they
up there,
have.
and Bo's mystique is I'm gonna run it at you until you show me you can stop it.
yeah.
And lots of times somebody can't stop it.
We found that out in 2 years ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
You scrimmage Heritage down at Findlay.
We do, yes.
I don't know how that came about for you and Heritage to get together that way, but I think that's a great idea. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's part of the Best of Preps Jamboree. They started going to those scrimmage games the couple days before, I guess, they do the actual quarter games, I guess you call it.
Right,
the
and those
traditional-
numbers are down, and I think Todd really had to Stump Martin used to talk about this back in the day about how Georgia and Tennessee needed to get combined on that, and now it's
Almost
happening.
like a border war.
Yeah, now it's happening. Somewhat due to the fact that I think some of the Tennessee schools are just bailing out of playing in the Jamboree anymore for whatever their reasons are.
Well, I didn't know. I grew up playing in the Jamboree. It was always pretty cool to come down to Findlay and play. And back in the day when I was playing high school football, it was one quarter.
Yeah.
And now the last few years they've done 2 quarters that you get to play, that 20-minute running clock. And the state of Georgia, at least when I was there, I don't know if it's changed in the last couple of years, but you only get 1 scrimmage.
Well, you get 1 scrimmage unless you don't have spring practice.
Yeah,
If you don't have spring practice, then you get 2. So we do have a couple programs around here that elect not to have spring practice because most of their athletes are tied up playing baseball or whatever.
Combination of that and you feel like you know what's coming back.
Right.
And anytime you got a bunch of youngsters that have to take key roles, sometimes you say, well, let's do spring. We can't. Let's figure out.
We've got a couple around here. They're going to have 2 scrimmages, but Heritage and East
Bigger
Ham.
schools don't do that.
Yeah, Heritage and East Ham. On the schedule, the regular season for a couple years.
That's right.
There. So
That's right.
Yeah, we played Heritage
Yeah.
my first year
Yeah,
at East Ham.
that's right.
That'll be a real good matchup. I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good scrimmage. I told them last year. I watched Walker Valley play in it against Ringgold last year, and I was like, "This is great," because me being in Georgia for 8 years coaching, I loved the model of that. When you only get 1 scrimmage, that sucker is a game. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of. And I got to Tennessee, and I'm like, how do I? You can have 4 scrimmages. You know what I mean, or 3, and I'm like, I don't know how to. Do
you
this.
think
I've
that
never done that?
I actually, my theory is why the Jamboree has shrunk in teams wanting to be there is because they have so many other options of doing it, and I think coaches say, I can get more out of this 3-way over here than going down there for a quarter.
Yeah, I mean, there is some of that to like. I talked to some coaches in the area, and they're like, it cost us more money to go down there for those 2 quarters than we made in ticket sales. You know what I mean? So
Got to pay for the buses.
buses
down
are
there.
expensive to get down
Especially now.
there. Yeah, and the last couple years, I mean, we got stuck with like the 9 o'clock game on a Saturday night, and you got to turn around the next week and play your first football game, and I'm like, that was a little worrisome. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But I was like, this is the best of both worlds, the scrimmage format, because we can go down there and get good quality work, game-like situation, and our kids are still getting to play.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
I told them after that, I was like, hey, next year, I want to be signed up for that.
Yeah, go ahead and put us down for that.
However I can get into that. So
don't
we're
blame
really
me.
excited
You've
about
coached in Tennessee now. You've coached in Georgia now. Obviously, we can talk about the competition level in Georgia and the athlete stuff, but apart from that, what's some of the main differences you've seen, and just in the style of play between the 2 schools?
I think it's, I don't know if I can speak for all of Georgia because I spent my coaching career in Metro
Yeah.
Atlanta. You know what I mean? So
Different animal.
it's different in Metro Atlanta. I think.
But you've seen some of those South Georgia teams too. A few of them.
We've played South Georgia teams as well. I've coached against teams from South Georgia. The biggest difference, I would say, is just the overall commitment across the board to athletics. And it's not anything bad about Chattanooga schools or public schools in Tennessee, but when I was at Grayson High School, we had 15 or 16 coaches on staff that were all in the school building.
And coach, that
Money,
starts
too.
that starts at the county seat.
Right.
It don't just start at the principal's office. It starts at the top, and it all comes down, and there sits that support. So, I don't think you said anything that anybody out there would disagree with.
No, there wasn't nothing controversial about that at all.
That's the way it is. That's the reality.
I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, you take a school like I'm just gonna pick one at random. Take a school like Tyner or anywhere else. They've got the bare minimum of coaches that they can get away with because that's what they can afford to put there on the field at that time. You take Baylor or McCallie, and I mean they got a position. You know, they have a staff like what an NFL team would
And that's
have.
what
They
he
have
was
every
talking about
position.
there down there in the
Yeah,
heart
I mean,
of
it's-
Atlanta. There's
Yeah.
15, 16 coaches.
Exactly.
And on top of those,
And if they're all in the
16
building
coaches-
every day, they're managing personalities, they're managing homework, they're yeah.
And on top of those coaches that we had at Grayson, like how many we had, I think back, like I had just as many guys on the offensive staff that I have on my total staff at East Hamilton.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had those kids like third period, the 9th grade football team came to lift weights, and me and like 3 or 4 other coaches are with them. And then 4th period, the varsity football team came down there, and we had like 10 or 12 of the coaches down there, and some of them, the first day of school there, I was like, "What are you doing down here, coach? You're a math teacher." And he was like, "Not 4th period."
Yeah.
So you got a guy that teaches math all day long, but for 4th period football, he's down there with the football team for an hour and a half.
That's
Yep,
big.
that's
It really
big.
is.
And
This-
so
real big.
all year long.
Yep.
This isn't just athletes, but a poll just came out of top 100 high school football programs preseason. Did you see that?
I don't think it was
Well,
like Max Preps or something like that.
Yeah, and you know who's leading the nation in schools in that top 100? Georgia with 16, Florida with 13, Texas with 13. But that doesn't just come by way there happens to be a bunch of nice athletes down here.
You get
That
developed.
comes from a commitment level at the top. But this is what we're going to invest in.
Yeah.
You seen that stadium over there that the
Buford.
that Buford
Yeah.
just put
I was just
together?
about to bring up, if you haven't heard, go look it up. $62.5
More than most
million
schools cost.
dollars.
God,
and that's for the football program.
that's
that-
comparable to the Texas facilities.
Yeah.
Remember a
Sure.
few years ago when everybody made such a big to do?
Sure.
What was that one that starts with an A? I can't.
Allen.
Allen, yeah, the big giant one that had like the full size football field, but then down in one of the end zones they had like a little miniature football field for the kids that would come to the game.
Well,
and
just
you
for
know, just stuff
comparison,
like
if
that.
I'm not mistaken, when Heritage High School was built in
I think it was
06,
43
07,
million.
$44 million for the
I
entire
think East
school
Hamilton High School was
and
around
the
that,
athletic department.
Yeah.
And North Murray is probably the same way. East Hamilton's probably the same way. Yeah, Buford, and they're a city school. They're the only school in that city. $62.5 million just
for the-
on the stadium.
Well, like you probably played then, or ran
did
into.
not play
You did
then,
not.
no.
You didn't get. I mean,
But
your
fun
talent.
fact on Buford is, the rumor is, and I'm pretty certain I got a reliable source, they get a percentage of all the sales tax at the Mall of Georgia. It's like
Oh my
1%. or something
God.
like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
and that's
that-
the big one. That's
So-
the
Okay.
fancy
I
All
one.
forgot.
of Georgia and
yeah,
the
it's right down the
surrounding,
street.
all the
Yeah.
strip malls around it, there's
Ooh.
Top Golf there, all
Yeah.
that. Like, what I understand is
Wow.
the school system, the city school system, gets a like 1 or 2% of the sales
I've never been to the
tax.
Mall of Georgia. I was at the Mall of America a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and if it's anything comparable
Mall of Georgia
to
is
that,
very
that's a
comparable,
bunch.
dude. That's one of the malls
That's
that
a
has
bunch of money.
Like
they-
a 3-story mall.
yeah. There's like
anything.
Louis Vuitton stores and things like that in there. I mean,
Well, that's a relatively new
nice,
school in the
nice.
state of Georgia, and when you start talking,
Yeah.
what 20 plus years,
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say
relatively
25
new,
or
but
so.
it came out of the gates successful. So they had a plan.
Yeah, they started.
had a
What's
plan.
crazy is they've won state championships in like 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A.
I went down and watched
Started-
the Win State.
started
and-
As
single
they
A.
grew, just they
I
got.
They
watched
had a
them win
bunch
the
of
state
former
and-
Falcons,
Who-
athletes,
I
kids
think
down there
they
too.
were
They
in
were
single A.
single A.
Is it single A when we went? Yeah, I went down, and that was when.
Playing Calhoun.
Who was the bigger? No. I saw him play Livingston Academy. I think is who I saw him play, or not Livingston. Something with
that's
an L, Lancaster or something like that. They were. I'm trying. It's been
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
It's
That's
probably
what.
Lincoln
Yeah,
County.
like 2004
Larry Campbell and them were there.
ish, 3-4. I mean, they basically ran the triple option all night, and every now and again they had a 6'4" receiver that would just go deep and they'd sling it downfield to him. And that, I mean,
Yeah.
they run ruled. They had the other team run ruled by the middle of the second quarter. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Have you had to adapt to your personnel that you've got, or did you bring back a lot of that offensive mindset of being down there in the heart of Georgia back to the East Hamilton team?
I mean,
Are you
little
kind of
bit.
playing it by
you're always
what can I do?
adapting. I mean, even when I was in Metro Atlanta coaching, you adapted year to year to what you had. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna, if you got a lot of offensive linemen and tight ends and a big running back, you're gonna build an offense around that. Again, because you're not out there just, colleges have a system and get kids that fit that system. high school coaches have to kind of year to year. Like when I came here to East Hamilton, had a quarterback, Trey Crawford. He's a good football player, but hadn't played a lot. So we had to keep things simple at the start of the year till he got his footing and could start building off of that. I got our quarterback now, Wyatt Miller, who's a phenomenal athlete that can run the football really well and also throw it. So you build in some quarterback run game elements.
And I'm glad you're saying that because I've seen in high school where, we say we do this. Well, how do you do that without what it takes to do that? Whether that be the spread, whether that be the wing tee, whatever. I always said a high school coach needed to be extremely diverse in understanding different offenses and not pigeonholing himself into this is what we do and we don't have those kids to do it with, but this is what we do.
Yeah, I mean that's,
you may not do it well.
Yeah, and I mean that's the fun part of it. That's the fun part of coaching is who do we have coming back? Who's on our team this year? What are they finding out what they're good at? Well, okay, they're good at X, Y, and Z. How can we maximize X, Y, and Z? Those type of things. That's the fun part of coaching is how to identify your talent and put them in a position to go be successful. And everybody, for the most part, everybody has an offense that's got elements of it. Like if you run a wing tee offense. Everybody talks about the wing tee. Well, it's for an offense that doesn't have a good quarterback. Well, I've seen wing tee quarterbacks throw for 2,000 yards. You know what I mean? Like you can still throw the ball out of the wing tee, but you have elements in the wing tee offense that you can throw the football and have ways to
Somebody
make
that came to mind, Bill Price ran the wing tee when he won his state
Reese
championship.
Phillips.
But yet he had two all-state quarterbacks that could throw out it. John Allen used to always say that offense is predictable unless you can throw out of it.
Yeah, there's parts to it. I mean, that's probably the best. I mean, in my opinion, it's the best high school offense that there is. I think so. We ran wing tee package when I was at Grayson High School. We would be in spread offense one play, and the next play we're under center wing tee, and had our kids. We spent about 10-15 minutes a day on it all summer, all year long, and
because nobody sees it anymore. And then all of a sudden it's kind of what is that? And then by the time they figure it out, you've already moved the ball and scored a couple times.
It's like the option. Gilmer County still runs the option, and every time
everybody up here goes,
everybody
they
around here plays them for at least the first half of the game. They struggle mightily, and then they kind of adjust in the second half, and it kind of evens out a little bit. But that first half, man, if you ain't careful, they'll run off from you.
We used to talk around here. If anybody would just start passing the ball, you'd probably win a bunch of games because nobody defended the pass. Nobody had to. Everybody
Now
run the ball.
passes.
Now everybody passes. I'm like, if we just get back to running the football, we're probably going to be successful.
Football goes in phases.
First week of practice, you just started scrimmaging by when?
August
End of this
1st,
week?
End of next week.
End of next week. Okay.
August 1st, we're going to East Ridge.
East Ridge. The Pioneers.
Yeah.
They've
Where
had.
it all started.
Oh, you're reminiscing. That's why you're going back over there.
Going back home.
And let me say this about East Ridge. I grew up occasionally being on East Ridge's field, and Tim James' daddy and Earl Shanks put that field in, and they did an amazing job because that's still one of the best. I almost hate to see them tear that field up, put turf down, because that's still one of the best playing surfaces.
The only downside
bar
to that
none in
field
town.
is that damn fence. It's literally like right behind you.
Well, even
on
if
the
they put turf
sideline.
in, it's going to be like that.
That is the only downside to East
Well, it was a little
Ridge.
tight
I told
over
Chad,
there.
I'm like, dude, you're going to have to break down and put some pads on this thing or something like that.
Yeah,
Because somebody is going to run through and get hurt.
Padding in a baseball field, outfield,
Yeah.
like a baseball field.
At least on the top, just so nobody
we were
hits
down
a
there
pole.
throwing a 7-on-7. I had forgot about it. And one of our kids down there, we were there a couple weeks ago, runs a corner route, back corner of the end zone. Quarterback's about to throw. I'm like, whoa, no, don't do that. He held up. I was like, what are you talking about?
You say that, Rusty, in that respect, but I'll say it in an opposite way. One of the reasons I really liked playing on that field, and we didn't play on it much because we were a city school at Tyner and they were a county school, but I liked the fact that back then everybody was sitting on top of that field. It was kind of unique to most of the other fields.
They had a track.
They weren't like
Yeah.
that, so that one was tight, and and a great playing surface. I used to tell Coach James that all the time. His dad did an amazing job
It's
putting
still
that
nice.
field.
I mean,
It really is.
Coach Barker's done a really good job taking care of it. But there's something to be said about a high school football stadium that doesn't have a track. I love tracks.
Oh, yeah.
But when you can get those bleachers right up there on the field.
Calhoun's like that.
Calhoun's like
It's
that.
it's definitely more intimate. You definitely, if you're one of the coaches on the sidelines, you definitely hear the second guessing a whole lot more when they're right down there on top
yeah,
of you. I
yeah.
mean, I think about a place like South Pittsburgh. Those poor coaches over there. There's 4,000 amateur assistants up in the stands.
Or where was it, Greenback, where they were pulling their pickup
They
trucks.
they backed their
Backing
pickup
them up.
trucks to the fence
sitting
and sat
in
in
the
lawn chairs in the back.
And literally, they're
Yeah.
like 10 feet from the field.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Notre
maybe-
Dame's similar to that.
Well,
The cool
yes.
thing about Notre Dame
Yeah.
was there was only one side, so you had the visitor and the home fans there.
Oh yeah.
I'll never forget, we score a touchdown. We're playing somebody.
That ain't always good, Coach.
We're coming off.
Fans don't get along like that.
I know, but and then it wasn't good. Like my receiver, I'm coaching him up on a route that he ran, and the Notre Dame, the wall's right there on our sideline.
Oh yeah.
Well, some kid from their student section leans over and yells something at my receiver, and his reaction, he had a water ball in his hand, was just squirts that kid with water right in his face and his chest. And I was just like, all right, let's keep going.
all right, then.
Come on, get over here.
Let's get back
over
to this.
guy. But that kid had leaned over and
slipped.
yelled
Sorry,
something.
sorry.
But it was just like that cool atmosphere of like, these fans are right here.
Courtney kind of got you in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Now Courtney, where's Courtney at now?
He's
Cincinnati.
back at Cincinnati now.
Cincinnati. He's been everywhere. I never met a guy that loves coaching football, appearance-wise, as much as it seems like Courtney does. I mean, he just was eat up in football. He really was. He used to help us on Stump on Sports Days.
Yes, he did.
And he he was somewhere different every spring, it seemed like. So I knew he was going to get involved in that. Coach Bo Campbell, when you're over there at Notre Dame, what'd you learn from Bobo?
Bo Campbell, I learned. Bo was our defensive coordinator.
He was.
And one thing I'll never forget about him was the importance of like your position group specific technique. Because I remember we're in like spring practice, and he would not let the kids run team defense, like line up as a team 11 on 11 until every position coach signed off on they're doing their technique the way we're teaching them and drills. And I remember those kids being
Fundamentals, man.
it's like the third day of spring, like, Coach, we go team today, we go team. And we're like having the practice, and he's like checking coaches, and like, Coach is like, we didn't bring it today, not team. And they're like, we got to do it. But it had those kids buy into doing the little details and focusing on the little details. That made us good defense.
Well, he had his first coaching job, if I got this correctly. He was Central's coach, and then he comes down here to
he was head coach
Lakeview.
at Central,
Yeah, he comes down to Lakeview's on staff, gets that job. I thought he did a really nice job with Lakeview. Now he's back over helping Notre Dame again.
He is, yeah. And his son Cooper is quarterback.
That's
He's
right.
a
What's
good little
crazy
quarterback too.
And it's crazy because Cooper, we throw 7-on-7 in June, and I'm like, dude, he was our ball boy when I was there. Like this tall. Dude running through the tunnel, and Creamore's holding him up in the air. Like,
Bo
now
ever
he's-
give you those braggamony moments of him being up there at Tennessee and
Oh, yeah.
linebacker? He gets into that.
Hey, listen, if
golf team.
if Mama Coach ever challenges you to a golf match,
do
just
it.
politely decline.
She's a ringer, huh?
She'll take your money.
Yeah, she played.
What?
She played
She
at
was a
Tennessee.
UT,
Glad you're
and
educating me on
still can consistently go out there and shoot right around or even break par.
this. And
She can bring
when
it.
you was there, Nate was over there with you too.
Nate Middlebrooks.
Yeah,
Middlebrooks,
and
yeah.
he's still back over there when he's not playing fireman.
Laney
he's
was
still
over there.
Coach Laney, Coach Dunn were
Coach
there.
Dunn.
Coach Jason Campbell.
Nick still had the mustache then.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, he shaved the mustache off a couple of years ago. He stopped
Kurt
doing
Jones was there with us for
it.
a
Kurt
while.
Jones used to be at Central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know where he's at now? South Pitt.
South Pitt.
Oh, is
And,
it?
and his boys there.
Okay.
Coach Garland's down there too.
Steve O, we had
He's
him on
back on
here.
the football
We had him
sideline.
on here a few
Yeah,
years
we
ago.
had him a couple weeks ago talking about taking the baseball job and everything. Love Steve. to
He's
death.
helping football too. So
Yep.
it's good. He's back
I remember
on the
going up to a Tennessee game one time, sitting down and look over to my left, and there he sits. He's like, "Hey!"
You didn't get him on your staff because of his obligations down there to the middle school. But, Steve's a baseball coach, but he's really, really a fine football coach.
He
too.
coached me in high school.
He really is. He's a good football coach.
My freshman and sophomore year, he was the defensive backs coach
At Saudi.
At Saudi. And
Okay.
I played for him. And he
People
coached
that-
me
So you
in
played for
baseball.
EK.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
People,
played for several. My freshman year was Weathers.
yeah.
Tom.
My next year was EK. And then it was Coach Rodriguez.
Well, you might know my old
Yeah.
football coach. Ernie McCarson.
McCarson.
I don't know Ernie McCarson.
Well, he was assistant principal up there for a long time. He may have left before you got there.
I don't think the casual football fan doesn't understand when they go to a high school game. That might not necessarily be all the best football coaches that your school has out there at the same time, but somebody's got to coach softball and somebody's got to coach something else. It's one of the that is one of the things about public school. I mean, you've got teams that have to have coaches, and sometimes it requires asking somebody to do something that might be out of their comfort zone or what might not even be what they want to do, but you have to ask. And so sometimes you don't always have the best 10, 11, 12. That's one of the things, man.
And I have been told, I don't know if I'm breaking news that I shouldn't be breaking here.
Right.
If you don't comment, I'll know I am. Y'all are eventually going to move the home side to the other side.
Oh yeah.
That's common
so
knowledge.
That's
okay?
why when people see pictures of the field, don't panic. We know that the logo is facing the wrong way right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we had them put the turf field down with the logo facing the visitor sideline.
Okay.
Because
So
eventually that's where it's going to be.
After
yeah.
this football season, they're tearing down the visitor bleachers and building new bleachers on that side.
With a press box and everything.
Yeah, with a press box. So we'll have two. We'll have a press box for the away team, a
that's
press
nice.
box for the home
Yeah, that's
team.
real
Well,
nice.
and I remember this story told to me by Ted Gatewood, and this happened the week of, I think. The plan was there was no stands, and people were going to have to bring lawn chairs, and at the last minute, Conoco anteed up some dollars to put stands in there. Now, you couldn't be griping about it because we didn't have any, but they were never big enough for that size of school.
The school grew fast.
Yeah,
too.
and it was never big enough. But they didn't have anything going into the week of football
Right.
until that happened.
Oh, I know. I've heard stories about they were lifting weights at a church down the street.
Yeah.
But it was like center blocks and flipping tires.
I remember
and
that
stuff.
first year they were open.
Coach Gatewood's got some stories.
It was the
It's
Rocky
great.
Four.
I remember
workout.
going over there to watch
Yeah.
games that first year, and that first year they were open, we had a really, really dry summer that year. And you'd go over there for a football game, and after about halfway through the first quarter, all that running back and forth on the grass and all the kids playing around, I mean, there'd just be a cloud
Yeah,
of
just a
dust
big old
floating in
dust
the
cloud
air.
that would-
And the darker it got, and then when the lights come on, it was a
But I always
weird
said it
setting
was-
sometimes.
when
They
they
may
put
not
that-
have sprinklers at that time.
Well, they may not.
They
but-
may not have, but it was a bad dry summer that
Yeah,
year
okay.
anyway.
But I always thought that in its original, that was a pretty setting that was set up
beautiful.
on that
Love it
hill.
up there on
that
that
was
hill.
the debate. It was like, should we try to get the current home side bigger because of the view, or flip it? And our concession stand sits right there, technically on
That
the
took a while to
visitor
get
side.
there too,
You
Coach.
have to walk around.
Yeah,
And
that's
so we're like, is it right for our home fans to have to walk all the way around
Yeah.
to use the restroom to buy food at concession stand?
But when the sun is setting,
It comes over the scoreboard. It'll kind of be early in the year, right off your left side.
okay,
not
so
too-
it's not going to be in your home field next year.
It's not going to be right in our face.
Okay,
like
you're not
it's in
pulling
high
a
school
lookout.
is.
Okay,
No,
all right.
no, none of that.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming up, doing
Absolutely.
the show. Now I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Fill in the blank. We will have a successful year in 2025 if
We develop some offensive and defensive linemen.
that's
We'll have a good
That's where
year
you
if we
took your
develop
Brian-
some
oh.
offensive-
That's what it's all about,
That's a
any level of
genius
football.
answer right there.
that's
Yep.
what it's
I
all
was
about.
gonna
Any
say,
level of football. I've said it
in
for
our
years.
region, you gotta, and I tell people all the time, you gotta have linemen to go win in our region.
You got to have it in every level of football.
Yeah.
If you can
Yeah.
run the ball, you can stop the run. You're going to win a lot of
But
games.
you can't do either one of those elements without a line.
Nope.
You won't stop it and you won't
You can
produce
have a
it.
great quarterback, great receivers, but if he's laying on his butt with the ball still in his chest, I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
doesn't do you any good.
We will observe you on those two
Okay.
lines of scrimmages as time goes on. Coach,
August
congratulations.
9th,
Absolutely, thank you.
they'll be at Finley Stadium against Heritage. I think 5:30 kickoff. So yeah, probably a little warm. So dress appropriately and
Don't wear your black uniforms that night.
Yeah.
no,
No, no.
it's gonna be a little toasty that night, but it's gonna be some good high
There's
school
no
football.
avoiding it.
So
Folks, we appreciate it. Just another couple of weeks until we'll actually be playing these games and stuff for real. Any of you out
2
there,
weeks from tomorrow.
we are
2 weeks from
still, all you potential sponsors out there, we are still in search of a scoreboard sponsor for our Friday night scoreboard wrap-up show. So if you are interested, call the numbers that pop up at the beginning and the end in our opening. Call me and Scott. Let us know. We're definitely looking for that, but we are almost there. So, folks, we'll see you back this same time next week. We'll see who our special guest will be then. Take it easy, guys. We will see you later.
Well, the days are short and the nights are long. A room slowly fills with song. All I need is one reminder. Parkway, blue blinders. Well, I begged and cheated and I borrowed for my life upon the road. I'm still looking for some gold at the end of my rainbow. Yes, and someday I will find her on a parkway, blue blinder. On a parkway, blue blinder. Someday I will find her. Yes, and someday I will find her on a parkway, blue blinder. On a parkway, blue blinder. On a parkway. On a parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves fall like confetti in a New York parade. On the parkway, on an autumn day. Yes, and leaves fall like confetti.